name is Neil Halpin, and I am a Googler for about 5 years, and you'll see in a moment that I'm actually based at Google in Chicago in the US, the Windy City. I've just recently relocated to the US from London, and in London I worked on an internal Google team called CSI, and I was a specialist for mobile. I helped all of our advertisers in the UK try to find value in mobile. I worked to run mobile workshops and help identify improvements that advertisers could make to their mobile site experience and their attribution modeling. So I'm going to spend some time today talking about good ways to find value in mobile. So with that, I've got some stats right up the front. I'm going to breeze through these because everybody knows how important mobile is. I know how important mobile is. You know how important mobile is. Maybe you're even watching this on a mobile phone. So 1/5 of media consumption time is spent on mobile, and we spend almost 2 hours every single day in the UK on our smartphone. These are UK stats, but you'll find stats for your country if you do some basic Google searches, and in fact most countries are trending towards the UK. The UK is a leading mobile market. Almost half of user time is spent online. Mobile is the most important screen and the first screen for many users, especially younger users. Users commonly look for store locations on mobile, and then they use GPS functionalities on their devices such as maps or sat-navs to get somewhere or plan their routes. And over half of consumers using mobile want to complete their purchase within 1 hour. So mobile has really strong purchase intent. And the UK has the highest percentage of users who make a monthly purchase through their smartphones out of 18 countries that were surveyed by eConsultancy. And £3 billion of revenue was generated by mobile commerce in 2013, which is pretty significant. In fact, it was so significant it accounted for almost a third of all online sales revenue in the UK. And an awful lot of m-commerce activity is actually lost because of poor mobile sites. So have a think about a mobile site that you use regularly to purchase things on, or a mobile site that you've experienced where you've been unable to complete a purchase, and how frustrating that is. And advertisers all the time lose potential transactions by having a poor experience. And that's why advertisers often think that mobile doesn't work. And over the 5 years that I've been at Google working on mobile, I've come up with a bit of a framework for discussing finding mobile value with advertisers. And that framework consists of 3 things, which is building a great site, buying the right traffic, and measuring everything. And those 3 things need to work holistically as a wheel so that the advertiser strategy can move forward. So I'm going to dive in. The first thing is about building a great site. I'm going to show you some examples and discuss why I think improvements could be made to some of the things that I'm going to show you. So the first one is about relevancy. There are lots of other things that you can find out about building a great site. I'm just going to give you 2. The first one is about relevancy, and how relevancy is what drives a user to continue or to go back. So here's an example on the right-hand side, and we have a fairly competent, nicely built mobile site with a logo and a menu up here and a big click to call button in the middle of the page. But the issue is that users are impatient, and if the value proposition on a mobile site is not instantly obvious and relevant to the user will probably not be pushed down the funnel to support your key call to action, which in this particular case is literally a call. And if the if the key proposition is not supported by content from a user perspective, then the bounce rate is probably going to be high. So take a look at your company's mobile site and consider if your value proposition is completely clear all the time for every single user. And probably you'll find that it's not. The second thing is about search. So here's another example of a big retailer. And this big retailer has got a big catalogue of products, and they're selling baby products or baby-related products. So for expectant mothers, people who probably have less time, or maybe for people with young children. And what's key is that in their homepage, their search bar is very, very, very obvious. So users may not want to go and filter through different categories. they are probably more minded to just go straight in and search for pushchair or dummy or something like that. So if your user can't find what they're looking for, especially on a really large complex site, they will probably go somewhere else. So search should be all over your site, and it should be easy to use. Make sure that any site that uses search is using predictive input and autocomplete, and it's very important to allow users to refine the results in the way that the user wants to refine them and not the way the advertiser wants to refine the results. So have multiple methods of refining: price, by style, by color, by discount, all sorts of things like that are important. The second element of my circle is about buying the right traffic. So buying the right traffic is all about thinking of the user journey and where the user is coming from. So the first thing is to remember that first impressions matter. So here's a search result for Hertz, and they are doing a click-to-call extension, and they've got site link extensions in their paid campaign, and they've also got an organic campaign underneath. And on the basis of the search results, it looks like they're doing a really good job. But when we click on the page, we actually go to a desktop experience. So this creates a miserable first impression. So if you've built a mobile site, remember to call it out in your ad text and banners. You've invested up front in redeveloping your website for mobile, and let users know that what they're going to click on is a mobile experience. And remember that the traffic that you buy might be the first interaction that a user has with your brand. And nobody likes a bad first date, so don't make it your last interaction. And always, always, always direct mobile users to mobile sites. So clearly that's not happened in this case. The second thing is about meeting expectations. So here's an example from Barclaycard, and in their search result, this is a natural search result, and their search text says, apply now for Barclaycard. So the expectation that I have as a user is that when I click on the search result, I will be able to apply, and what is very disappointing is that I cannot do that. So when I click on the search result, it takes me through to a login screen, and there's no content about applying. This is obviously the desktop ad text, which is, or not ad text, SEO text, which is being pulled into the mobile site, and it creates a poor experience, which is not meeting my expectations as a user. Another example is Hertz again. So here I've searched for the keyword Hertz app. My expectation, both with that keyword and also with the search results, is that I should be able to download an app. And I can download an app from the landing page, but unfortunately it's a desktop landing page, which has got Hertz's apps on the landing page, and they are very old versions of the app, so it's not really been updated, and it is a pretty poor experience. So remember that users give helpful clues to you in their search queries. You should check if you're ignoring them or listening to them. And remember to use extensions. So there's an app promotion extension that advertisers can use in their search campaigns for certain keywords. Extensions often add value. They can really shorten the conversion path, and they might increase the real estate of your campaign, so extend how much the user sees of your particular brand in the search results on a mobile phone. And then it's very important to remember to assist users instead of disrupting users. So on the left, you see a search result for a company selling bags. In fact, it's a really good search result. They've got product listing ads at the top, and they've got their regular mobile search result with some site links, so they're taking full advantage of the space available to them. And then they've got a natural search result as well. And if I click on one of these results, my expectation is that I would be able to buy a bag, given that that's what I've searched for. It's rather frustrating to be shown this result, which is a big, huge welcome banner that consumes the screen and suggests that I should sign up for an email. Obviously, I didn't want to sign up for an email, otherwise I would have searched for the brand name with email sign up attached to it and not bag. So that's kind of irritating. They've broken my user journey. I'm probably going to click out and go back and maybe look for a different provider. Here's another example of a parking app. So I've searched here for the brand name, and these guys again have very clear paid search result with a title. They're using social extensions, they're using app extensions, and they're using paid site links. So pretty good. But when I click on the result, I get promoted the app again. This is very common. to put these splash pages, these app splash pages, in between the user coming from search and the user actually landing on the page that the user wanted to get to. And they're disruptive. And if the user doesn't want the app, in this particular case, if I wanted the app, I would have searched for app, or I would have clicked on the app result. But I didn't. I clicked on the main headline, and to be shown the app instead of the main site is disruptive in the moment. Remember that your user's time is valuable. The user has chosen to spend that time on mobile with you. Don't create barriers and block your users from doing what your user wants to do. And promote actions which add value to your business after the user converts. So there may well be a benefit for you to promote your email sign-up for your app, but do it after the user has converted and not before. The third part of my circle of mobile is about measuring everything, and measuring everything involves looking at all of your data and not just your transactional data. So most advertisers only track transactional conversions, but transactional conversions on smaller screens are much less likely than on desktop, sometimes because of the functionality of the site, or sometimes because of the intent of the user. And maybe the user is just looking for pricing information or availability or a location or something. So what we encourage advertisers to do is identify proxies for conversion. So some proxies include very obvious things like app downloads, a call to an advertiser, or looking up a location. Those things suggest intent. But there are some things which are less obvious, like time spent, and the number of searches that the user makes, the number of pages viewed, or the length of the session. These are also really strong indicators of value on mobile. So a user who looks at 6 pages is probably a more valuable user than a user who looks at 1 page. And advertisers who don't track these things don't get that same sense of value and understand how to reach more of those users who look at 6 pages versus fewer than that. Second thing that's important is looking at cross-device uplift. So Google has a tool called Estimated Total Conversions, which allows advertisers to gather data about users who click on ads on one device but convert later on other devices. And the way that this works is the user does a search, they click on an ad, but they do not convert on a site, and then later they come back to that same site and make a conversion on a different device. And what we can tell the advertiser is that there is an uplift, or a number of those conversions were assisted by users who happened to start their user journey on a different screen. Now, that screen could be 2 computers, 2 separate computers, or 2 different mobiles, but the most common one is users starting their journey on a mobile phone and completing their journey on a desktop. We see that in about 20% of cases, 15 to 20%, conversions that happen on desktop are assisted by users clicking on ads on a mobile device in the first place. And if the ad wasn't available on mobile, it may well be that the user would come back and visit that advertiser on desktop. So if you have conversion tracking and you're running paid search across mobile and desktop, then you should be able to find estimated total conversion data in your AdWords account, or you can ask your Google contact to discover your own cross-device uplift. Remember, with anything data-driven, make sure you're looking at your full data set. So anyone who drives will know that when you're driving on a highway, there are some blind spots, and you need to look over your shoulders when you're changing lanes. And we encourage you to do the same thing when it comes to looking at your data and make sure that you're not missing out on any blind spots. To summarize, at Google, we have 10 things which we know to be true. And the very first thing that we know to be true is focus on the user, and all else will follow. So when we put the user at the heart of what we do, we know that everything naturally happens as a result of being so focused on that user. And actually, when it comes to this circle of mobile, building a great site, buying the right traffic, and measuring everything, if we put the user at the heart of that, then often it makes sense. It makes sense to build a great site because the user wants to use that site. Or it makes sense to buy the right traffic because you want to reach your user in doing so. And of course, when it comes to measurement, if you don't measure everything, then you're probably not going to see the value in your user on mobile devices. So with that, there are lots of other resources on your campus. You'll find lots of stats in your lesson, and I hope this was very interesting. Thanks very much.